Hey everyone, Caleb with Antique Book Collective, and today I'm getting to you guys with a little bit of an update. So guys, as you guys know, I am trying on all these different businesses. I'm going to try selling this on my eBay store, going to try this, just to try to expand my business into other things that I think my buyers are interested in. Of course, that is something that I recommend a lot of people do. So some people will go and sell antique books, and then they might go out and sell some newer books as well, some vintage books. They might go out and sell some CDs, video games, all that sort of stuff, all entertainment media things. Which is definitely a good business model. It definitely makes sense. For me, though, because I'm a bit of a nerd, I was like, you know what? I'm interested in precious metals. You guys have seen me and heard me talk about these things, show you guys some of these things in other videos. So I was like, let's see what people think about those, because I do know of plenty of people that are interested in precious metals and rare vintage coins, that sort of thing, that are also interested in history, and not just history, but antique things, antique books, all that sort of thing. So I thought, okay, this is not something that most people would do, but it's something I could definitely try out. So guys, this fun little update, I actually just sold this little Morgan silver dollar, which is pretty dandy. I doubt you guys can really see everything about it. I'm trying to hold it out at all the angles I can to really show off things, but this silver dollar right here actually has something called toning on it. That's why it's not a bright silver coin, which I don't have any right next to me. I do have some 90% silver, which is, I guess, sort of silvery. It's close enough. Here's a Walking Liberty half dollar right next to it. But as you guys can see, this thing's very dark. That's called toning. But in addition to the dark toning on this thing, you also have on the backside and even a little bit on the front something called rainbow toning going on. This one, it's not the most brilliant rainbow toning going on out there, but it definitely does have some rainbow toning on it. And rainbow toning, guys, when you guys can get especially a Morgan silver dollar with rainbow toning on it, people really like seeing that sort of stuff. This one, the toning on it, it's got blue at the center, and then it's got a little bit of a orangish and reddish ring around that blue, and of course that's not really a normal color for silver. That is coloration that starts to happen once it gets some age, once it's exposed to certain things, all that sort of stuff. Morgan silver dollars are really known for having all these really beautiful kinds of toning on it. As such, they can be quite collectible for those sorts of things. So me being me, I was like, all right guys, I'm going to do a science experiment, and I don't think I told you guys this one necessarily, but I did the science experiment sort of to test out how I could sell one of these, see how much I can make. So when I first got this thing, I believe I paid $130 for it, and I've actually had it on my shelf over there behind me since I bought it, basically, and you guys have probably seen it. I believe I've mentioned it and shown it off a little bit before, but I bought it for $130 just as like a hardcore experiment. I'm like, all right, let's do one that I think might be able to sell for a pretty good amount. So I actually listed it for $500 in the very beginning, believe it or not. Did I think it would sell for that? Not necessarily, but I was like, I'm going to try it out. And I ended up slowly lowering the price, slowly lowering it. I got it down to $250, and I had offers available. I had it so it automatically declined any offer under $170, because $170, based on the numbers I did, would just make it so I didn't make any money whatsoever because of eBay fees and also shipping. I was offering free shipping with this thing. So, I ended up accepting an offer for $180 for it, so I'm basically doing break even on this deal. So it's not the best thing I've ever sold whatsoever, because again, it's basically break even, but it is something that I'm testing out. It's something I'm curious in. It's something I hope to potentially do a little bit more of, because I mean, I do have other vintage and antique silver that I can sell. This one's only vintage because it's 1943, but it is definitely something I have considered and am still considering doing. And once I get to my bookstore that I really want to open, once I move into the new town that I'm trying to do my thing, I think it'd be really cool to have just like one little shelf or something that you have some antique and vintage coins on it, because I think that'd just be something cool and be something a little bit that I'd be interested in. So that's my little story right there. With that said though, guys, if you guys do want to do vintage, antique, silver, all that sort of stuff, gold even, be sure when you're doing it that you package your things very, very well. People are not going to pay $100, $500, $1 million for something if you're going to pack it like an absolute idiot. Of course, you could do that with some books that you guys might want to sell, like dirt cheap books. Yeah, you could just throw that in a box, throw it in a padded envelope, it's fine. But people who are buying these pieces of history that are monetary in nature like this, they generally, and especially for gold and silver, these things are generally known to be very soft, and as such, people want them very, very well packed. So what I personally would recommend, and what I've seen people do, what I've done in the past, seen done in the past, is they actually take the thing, and then they'll wrap it, and then they'll wrap it in bubble wrap, then they'll wrap that in bubble wrap, and then they'll do like 500 layers of bubble wrap and all these other wrappings to make sure that the thing does not get damaged whatsoever. That is something that I would recommend if you guys are doing this. Of course, I've also gotten some precious metals where it's not wrapped whatsoever, and usually that's just for the lower premium sort of things that people don't care a whole lot about. So for me, these things right here, they're called junk silver. As such, being junk silver, people don't give a rip about them, whereas there are the more fancy ones like this that are slabbed. That's what you call it when it's inside of the plastic case like this. The plastic case, guys, this one's from NGC. As you guys can see there's a couple other companies that do it. So that's what people refer to as slabbed. You also see some that come in little coin holders like this. Obviously, the coin holder's not as fancy, not as important, but that is something you guys can see. I know this is not necessarily in my mainstream of antique books, all book selling in general, but it is something that you guys might want to consider getting into. For me, when I do all these different estate sales that I go to, that I buy all these different things, there are a lot of people that have vintage silver items, antique silver items, and coinage and paper currencies, all that sort of stuff. So that is something that you guys might want to potentially consider expanding into, especially if you can get it for a good price. For me, $130 on this thing was not a good price whatsoever. In fact, fun story, don't accept the price that anyone's willing to offer you guys for things. So I had people offering a whole lot less. I actually just, because I had the automatic decline on it, I didn't see most of these offers, but I did have people doing some really crazy lowball offers. In addition to that, I actually went to some coin stores and saw what they'd pay me for this. I think one person offered like $35. Someone offered like $45. I think the best I got was like $49. And again, guys, it sold for $180. That's a little bit more than $40. So of course, that is something I could definitely expand into down the road. Honestly, guys, something I've considered and I'm still considering is like maybe going to a local coin store, and you can actually buy some Morgan silver dollars. I don't know the exact price right now because silver prices have been going a little crazy with all the bank failures, all that sort of stuff. But last I talked to someone over, I believe I could get them for $35, Morgan silver dollar. They were not slabbed. If you get slabbed ones, they generally are worth a little bit more. But yeah, I could get it for $35, and potentially those could be worth $80, could be worth $100, could be worth $180 like this one. Of course, the slabbed things generally are worth a little bit more, but that's just something that you guys should keep in mind if you are interested in this business whatsoever. Of course, there are risks attached. So for me, there is definitely a risk that the person who bought this might be like, oh, I never received it, or oh, it's not what you said it was, da-da-da-da, and they might end up stealing it, which is definitely a high risk. For me, selling an item like this that I paid so much for, it definitely is a little bit nerve-wracking. But I really wanted to test the waters as best I could. I wanted to do a higher ticket item for my very first escapade into this whole business, into my first science project into it, if you will, just to make sure that I was doing it as whole hog as I could, because I like to, when I'm testing out these businesses, guys, I want to make sure that I'm giving it the best step I can. So I wanted to do a slabbed something coin, and it ended up being a Morgan because I just, based on the research that I did before I bought it, I was like, I think I can make some good money on this. So with that said and done though, guys, I hope this video was helpful to you guys. I do know that it is something that I will probably keep on doing in the future. I know I've mentioned to you guys the gold backs. In fact, here's a gold back right here. Excuse me. Here's a gold back right here. I am definitely considering selling just gold backs on my store just to have available on the store, just because I can get them for not a terrible price. I know I can make a good profit on them, so I might end up expanding into that side of things with my business. We'll see what I end up doing there, but for the time being, this is the only piece of silver that I had on my store. It is now heading out the door, and I am very excited to finally get it gone, because it's like, okay, cool, this is a nice end of this chapter. Let's see what I end up doing in the future. So with that said and done though, guys, thank you for watching. If you want to learn more about selling antique books, all that sort of thing, you can check out one of my other videos. You could subscribe, and I'll see you guys in the next one.